All right, I'm gonna go live, and then we'll finish getting this shit together.
All right.
There it is. There you go. Boom. What's up, Angelito? How you been, Papa?
So,
How's the
baby.
life in the IE? How you settling in?
Um. We settled in already. Good. Pretty good,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
I- That shit
Yeah.
comes with a fucking private gym too. I see you. I see
Yeah.
you playing.
Gym. All right. Yeah. Hold on. Let me order my food really quick because.
Handle. We got about 5 minutes before we can start the actual show. So
All right. Cool. Hold on.
do your
I need
thing.
my lighting here is really ass, so I might have to use my phone the entire time. Is that better? Is that my lighting a
Yeah.
little better?
Yeah.
Just point
You can see
your
your face.
phone towards your forehead.
There you go. Is that better? I'm gonna have to do that the
Yeah.
entire time. All right. Let me see. Let me order some food. Oh.
What are you gonna
Oh,
order?
this in a barbechar. The Habit Burger Grill.
Yo, what up, Adrian?
Would be ordering that shit.
All right there.
And
Yeah, hell yeah,
I-
fuck yeah, bro. I'm nice as fuck right now. So
Qué calor, qué calor. Oh,
ooh, hey, Masa, you ready for a date this weekend?
So I heard we were going somewhere, dog. We just
Yeah,
don't
we're
know
gonna have a
where.
date this weekend.
Yeah,
Where you
where
guys
we
going?
going, bitch?
I don't know. Hold on, I'll fill you guys in right now.
For sure.
All right, give me this one right here. Um,
Masa,
Hey,
you
send us to my house too, fool.
Hey Adrian, you're the first one, dog. What you want to eat, dog? I ain't just buying food.
yeah, I'm ordering some food right now.
Son of Arbitrage Fire.
Oh, you okay, buddy?
How you doing in the photo, Masa?
I'm top of the champo, and I'm in the middle of a rebuild, so I feel good.
Nice.
There. God bless.
Nice. Stay consistent year through year. I flex with that.
Well, last year I had a terrible year. I
No
didn't even make
pickles.
playoffs in the second division, so I'm coming up right now.
Go barbecue on the side.
To be honest though,
You sit. It's a card.
it came down to me signing Simeone, Giovanni,
Uh huh.
at the end of TDD last season, and tell me why he's been fucking
He's
one of
steering
the
it.
top goal scorers in Serie A. He got Player of the Month.
Yeah. He has a
For
special
Serie A.
card right now on foot, right?
Yeah, so he got like a nice little upgrade since I bought him. So that shit's been amazing.
Any fuck with your salary?
Nah.
No.
They kind of move shit around, so teams have like way better and higher rated players.
Oh,
Not
no.
like crazy higher, but like 70. Like we're getting into the high 70 range already.
You're not building foot teams, but you're getting more quality and shit.
Yeah, you're getting definitely quality.
What's up? So, but you, Angel, talk to me, baby. I feel like we haven't hanged out. Oh, you're on mute, my guy. Mute yourself first and then talk to me.
Hey, there we go. See, I haven't done this in a while. My bad.
Dog.
Yeah. No, it's because I said I was ordering my food, so I was a little distracted because I was starving. But yeah, ended up ordering some shit from the Habit. First time trying it, so let you know how it is.
Oh, it's just pretty. Solid.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you were asking me about how I like living out here so far.
Yeah.
It's cool. Can't complain. So far, it's chill. I mean, we have everything right here. Obviously we have the gym. You saw the gym.
Yeah.
We have a basketball court. We have tennis court. What else do we have? Oh, we have the pool. We have a play area for the kids. We're walking distance to the mall, to Target, a whole bunch of places to eat. This past weekend, we walked over to the sushi spot. That was dope. I fucking drank a couple of heights, and I didn't have to worry about driving back. It's
No,
just-
no.
yeah, hell
That's
yeah.
what's up.
And yeah, I love height too, so I was like, ooh, hell yeah. And then there's height light, the light one.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, Kieran. My bad. I was thinking about Kieran. I had height the day before at the Korean barbecue spot that we went to. We want to go try the local Korean spot too. That shit was dope. But we went to the sushi spot. Yep, and I got Kieran Light. Kieran Light's my shit. That's like my favorite beer. So
What's up?
good,
Awesome
bro.
stuff.
Yeah, good.
How the kids adjusting too?
Yeah, a lot. No, they're doing really well, especially Eli, dude, because he's he's love soccer, bro. He thinks he's the shit. So there you go. Now he actually gets to actually play some competitive ass shit. So he's really happy. Plus they have everything. I'm telling you, they have everything right here. So they're living good right now. They're living good as fuck. Those are the boys.
That's what's up. I'd love to hear that shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll ask you how you doing, myself, but let's get the show started.
All right.
So yeah, let's get kickoff. No, you have to talk. All right, River, let's go.
Yo, what up?
Hey,
And welcome to another episode of Straight from the
Hopefully
Stands,
my
an
camera is
unapologetic, unofficial LA Galaxy podcast, hosted by 4 my supporters who bring you
dude
their
really
thoughts and views on
No,
everything
yeah.
related to LA Galaxy, straight from the stands. I am your co-host Smarts, alongside the
Dang. Oh,
always
you got
angry
OBJ?
Angel, his counterpart, level-headed George,
Oh, shit.
and the man with the facts, Masa. This is
Oh, no,
Straight from the
that was a
Stands.
stupid ass trade. You weren't expecting that to happen. No,
I
fuck out
wasn't,
of here.
dog. I
No,
was
you were
expecting
not.
that to happen. I was just
Fuck
telling
out of
Rudy.
here.
I was just
All right,
telling Rudy.
listen,
Nah,
we had
fuck
we had
you.
to.
Nah,
We,
fuck you.
hey, you should hop in early so we could talk shit before that. But now with the intro, so we got to get the show started. Good evening. What's
Good
going on,
evening.
people? How are you guys? Angelito, how are you, sir?
It's been a while, man. Hopefully, we still
Yes,
remember how to
yes.
do this. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I know
You
we've
sound
had a changes
better
for
than
sure.
ever,
So.
dog. I'm
Yeah,
just,
hell yeah. It's because it's the new me, i.e. version. So I'm different now. I'm not hood anymore. So I've changed. I have a radio voice now.
Is that what it
Or
is?
a podcast voice. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't sound like I'm gonna take your wallet. Now I sound like
Sosa
I'll give you your
69 or what?
$20 back. Type of shit. So that's where I'm at right now.
Sosa 69 now or not?
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, Ángel 69. That's right. Yeah. Soy de
What's up?
Riverside.
Who would have thought, dog?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
never.
it's crazy.
I would have never thought.
Yeah. I would have never thought either. Ever. But life.
I'm
My
happy.
job is really good too, so I
That's
had
fu-
to for work, man. So it
for-
happens. Part of growing up.
What is that?
Must-
Exactly. Exactly.
Masa, you're. How you doing? I know you're ready for tomorrow. You got some Cumbia Masa coming out tomorrow. What's cracking? How you doing?
I'm chilling, bro. We're gonna go see Supermercados tomorrow. So
Oh shit, really?
yeah, that should be our date, Angel. You work tomorrow?
I do not. My schedule changed already. So
Oy,
I can't be on Monday nights, but I'm off Thursday,
peligro,
Friday, Saturdays now.
peligro,
What's up?
peligro.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
shoot
so
you the link.
peligrosas nights, yeah.
I'll shoot you the link.
All
Yeah,
right. Maybe.
I know we started all kinds of weird, but we're having another show. We also haven't kicked it for a minute, so I think we're taking the time right
Hey,
now just
Rudy,
to
yeah,
kind
how
of
you doing?
have a
Rudy? How you
conversation.
doing? Yeah, how you
I'm
doing?
doing. I could be doing better, but I'm not
Okay.
complaining where I'm at right now. You know what I mean? I like my fake life, my fantasy life better than I do my IRL life right now. Right?
We said we're not talking about that.
No,
We said we're not
I'm
talking about that.
I'm not going into detail, but I'm just saying
Okay.
things are working out for me better on fantasy than they are in IRL. So,
Okay.
with that being said, let's get into Safu hours and talk about the second half of the season. Listen, you know what? It's funny, right? Because like as I'm hanging out here with Masa before you hopped on, getting ready for the show, I looked at the schedule since the last time we talked. Right? The last time we had a show, we talked about the L we took to Austin 2-0 back in September 26th.
Fuck.
That was the last time we talked. Now here's the interesting thing, right? Like I for some reason, like I imagine that we had a shit ton of L's. I mean, we have some. Um, Shit ton of L's in our record was a lot worse since then. But it's not. It's not good, but it's not bad either, right? Since then, since the last time we talked, when we took an L to Austin, we followed that up by losing again to Salt Lake 2-1. Then in October, we tied 1-1 versus Nevas. Got a 2-1 victory versus Portland, a 3-0 victory over Houston, 2-2 tie versus Dallas, and then the 2-0 loss versus KC, and wrapped it up with a 1-1 draw versus Seattle and a 3-3 draw versus Minnesota. Listen, that's two defeats, 2 wins, and the rest are ties in that time, right? Like it wasn't like the worst closing of the season, but it still feels like it. I mean, no playoffs is gonna feel bad, but it still feels like it's a bad close to the season, doesn't it? Or am I just tripping? It's just me.
Now that you put into context and you explain, how we finished off, it definitely felt a lot worse than the ending. Now that you mention it, I guess it's what led up right to that stint, right? I guess the last game we said was RSL, and then we tied against Levas, right? And then at that
Yep.
point on, it's where we had this actually stretch. So take that RSL into consideration. From that RSL to the games before that, we were in a losing streak, right?
Yeah,
Ties
yeah.
and losses only.
Well,
we like
yeah,
six,
not
like eight games,
winless.
something like that. 7 games.
8 games,
Yeah,
8 game
winless.
winless. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Including RSL, not including RSL.
Uh, I think 8 was the final. I might be wrong, but I think like we ended up with
Okay,
8, and then like
but you
finally
get the
got 7.
point. That's
Yeah,
regardless, right? So I think we were all just caught up and all that, right? Because we started the season so hot. You know, we're listen. I drink the Kool Aid, right? I never drink the Kool Aid. I'm probably the most pessimistic one here, but I drank the Kool Aid, right? I drank the Kool Aid, and I got to a point like, you know what? The way that we're going, what I'm looking from the team, what I see from the team, at least their place, the Western Conference,
yeah,
right? At least their place. Man, if I don't recall exactly what we mentioned or what we talked about during the last podcast, specifically after Austin, but I do remember it wasn't good because I was telling you about how bad that Austin loss was. To me, it's been the worst away day I've ever had in my life in terms of the game, and what I
yeah.
saw from the team and just everything about Austin. It's hard to explain. I guess like Jeremy told you the same thing, right? And Jeremy and I hadn't even talked yet, right? You hadn't talked to us at different times, so it's like Jeremy and I, said, "Hey, let's talk to Rudy real quick and tell him this shit right quick," right? So it was on the spot type of thing. It's it was all that leading up to the ending. The fact that we were in crunch time, I think that made it feel that way because we got to a point where we're so dependent on everything else going on around us for about 3 games. I mean, 3 games left in the season, where it felt that way, right? It came down to the last game of the season where we borderline qualifying when we could have been in fucking weeks ago, right? If we would have just literally won 2 games, or you know what, tie
Yeah.
a couple more games during that stint where we went eight winless or 9, whatever it was.
Well,
So that's why it feels that way.
even before that, right? And let me just hop in here because, uh, I mentioned the loss to Austin was the last one we covered, but then we lost 2-1 versus Salt Lake. Do you guys remember how we lost that game?
Nope.
I don't.
Everything's
Let,
at this point. I don't remember shit.
let me remind you how we lost that game. That game we had, I think, like 18 shots on goal, right? We had 18 shots on goal. I think they had 7, and we were pressing them late on the game to get that dub, and they score goals in the 95th minute. Like I think Steris takes a round bounce. He gets a first time, second post, nothing Bond can do. We lose 2-1. Like that right there, right? That's another one. Like if we take those 3 points away from them and split the points one apiece, like that changes the situation at the end of the or for decision day, right? Let's look at like some of the other ones that we took that we got to draw. Like we drew 2-2 at home versus Dallas, a team that had
That was terrible.
at this point that team was already out of playoffs. They were like on a 7-game losing streak or something like that. Like again, we take those 3 points there, and we're not talking about decision day, right? You guys remember the horrible display just a couple weeks ago versus Kansas City at Kansas City? That was horrible, right?
Garbage. Yep.
And then the last 2 games versus Seattle versus Minnesota. I think we talk about them separately because I think they tried it, they went for it. But it's those games that I just mentioned right now that really stick out to me after Sunday's game, right? Because the level of effort, the fight they had on Sunday was different than what we have seen most of the season, right? Like most of the season, we see a team that they knew they had talent, they knew they could get results where they wanted, so it took them long to get started. It took them long to get going. They had to get punched in the face or punched in the mouth, to quote George, before getting
Yeah.
going instead of being the opposite, right? So like it's that frustrates me, that infuriates me, especially coming after Sunday, not making playoffs, right? Even though, listen, Sunday coming in, I was okay with it, right? Because the one thing I wanted was for us to hold our destiny in their hands, right? Like the Galaxy had, all they had to do was win. They had to perform and get a result, and they were in playoffs. They didn't need nobody else to do anything for them. Yeah, we saw it happen. Masa, get in here and talk to me a little bit about anything you want to talk about. The last, what was it, 5 or 8 games or whatever it was, since we covered the G's last.
Just the shit that bugs me the most is for the whole season was the consistency of coming out weak in the first half. That shit
Yeah.
I think killed this season because I mean we didn't make playoffs,
Yep.
but just
Unbelievable.
you could pinpoint any game that we've lost or that we went down early. Well, even the whole season, our record was terrible when we went down a goal first.
Yep.
So I think that to me stood out a lot. this season,
And
especially
and
because the last game we were down 2-0 in like 30 minutes. Like, what the fuck, man? Like
yeah,
that shit was
I
not
mean,
great.
you taking the words right out of my mouth, right? Because I was gonna mention that. Like, just look, I mean, it was evident the whole season up to the last game, right? Because yes, the game finishes 3-3, but that first half, sheesh, man. Like, our defending are just like it seems like the boys were I know it's not the case, but it almost felt like they were okay with going down first because they knew it was just going to happen. Like it was inevitable. Like they were going to take get scored on first, and it was so frustrating to see. Like, yeah, just like that energy was not there when they were not losing, and it's just so frustrating to see. Um, listen, we're going to talk about a lot of things. I want to talk about the personnel. I want to talk about the players and just everything around it. But let's focus up a little bit more on the end of the season. Actually, no. Let's talk about heading into those 8 games where we were or 9 games that we didn't get a win. A lot of those Chicharito was out, right? Chicharito ended up with 17 goals the season. I think unanimously we said the 15 goals would make it a good season for Chicharito. Now, all that being said and done, 17 goals for Chicharito, no playoffs. How are we feeling about Chicharito himself for this season?
I'm
I
disappointed.
feel, yeah, I feel half and half because, and I know it's not his fault. The injury is not. It's never the player's fault. It's obviously
Yes.
something, but like, uh, yeah, I'm happy he scored 17 goals, but at the end of the day, he missed like half the season too, and it's just frustrating and it sucks to depend on just one player, but it's like we literally like I think if he would have played those, what was it, 13 games he missed,
Yeah, something like that.
I think there's
Crazy.
no contention that we finish above playoff line. I don't want to say a number because I don't want to. It's
Yeah,
Because we'd be in,
irrelevant
right?
anyways. Yeah,
but
Yeah.
we would be in. I think we would be in, and it's crazy. And at the same time, like what he did in a small amount of time or the time that he had, I think he put in work and he stepped up. Comparing him to the previous season he was here, so it's kind of like a mix, like of emotions. Like fuck, man,
yeah,
like you missed half of the
Um,
season, but you
yeah.
put up a full season numbers
Numbers, yep.
yeah, fuck
compared to
that.
everybody else in the league. But
Fuck that.
that's
Well,
just me.
Angel, let me shoot it up to you because I know first season you had a lot to say about Chicharito and get this man on my team and whatnot. This season you kind
I
of
was
took a
right
step
though.
back from, but
Yeah,
this
I
season
was
you took
supporting.
a
Yeah,
step back
yeah.
because like he like I mean a lot of what Mas said is true, right? Like when he was on the field, he was a difference maker for the team. Even if he didn't score, like you saw the effort in my opinion, or at least my opinion. I'll say you saw effort from him every single game. You saw a fight from him every single game he played. Yet we still out of playoffs. Talk to me about what your thoughts on Chicharito at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, really quick to address what you said at the beginning of the season. Yeah, it's true because we saw his hype videos right at the beginning of the season, how hard he was working. Obviously, with the personal stuff that he went through that cleared out his mind, and he did seem in preseason as he was going to be coming in as a different person. So I got on the Chicharito boat early on, right? And that's you guys can go back to the podcast early on and address that. But now we're here at playoffs. He missed 13 games. That to me is big. I don't give a fuck if he scored 17, 18. I don't. He could have broken the record, but you missed 13 games and we're out of playoffs. My issue is if we've so much for the last fucking 6 years, after the glory years, whatever it's been now, about the players that we've had. That they're good players, but they can't stay consistent, right? Gio, Alessandrini, whoever else, right? Name me other players from those areas, right? But at least those two come to mind. If we gave shit to Gio for always being hurt, Alessandrini for always being hurt, right? Because when those guys would play, actually they produced, especially Alessandrini. But we gave them so much shit, right? Because they were always injured. We need to have that consistency with our DPS, including Chicharito. It's irrelevant. Same shit. What happened with Drini? What happened with Gio? It's happening now with Chicharito. It's 13 games, two seasons with him, and we're out of playoffs. Right? Why?
Uh,
Because he's missed majority. Last season, fine. You know what? Fuck last season. Oh, with your bunch of weird shit, he had pressure, fine. But this season, he still missed 13 games. My biggest issue is that he's our DP at 33 years old. Right? He's gonna be, or 32, whatever he is. He's gonna be a year older next year. If he can be healthy the last 2 years, what makes you think he's gonna be the same shit next year? Uh, I don't know, man. To me, it's if we're gonna bitch about Gio and Alessandrini, players that we've had before that also were affected, especially Alessandrini, and sure, maybe he's my guy, fine, whatever, I'll take that. But it's the same shit. I'm gonna treat him in terms of Chicharo the same way that we did those guys. It has to be consistent. You can't just
Yeah.
be because you like him that you can't give him the Gio and Alessandrini treatment because it's exactly the same shit.
Yeah, no, listen, I can't argue with you, right? And I like this episode coming into the episode is super weird for me because I'm conflicted. Like I hate where we're at, and I'm upset at not being in playoffs, right? Yet there's still things that I liked about this team. There's still like I still see
Really?
things for the future. Yeah, yeah, and that's why I'm conflicted because
Yeah, we'll get to it.
listen, I know, we clown around that I'm the optimistic one that I always see, but I honestly do,
Hey, you
I honestly
are.
do believe I am, but like right now,
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to play that part, right? Like I honestly do see things in this team that I can see their foundation for becoming a better team. Sticking to
Okay.
Chicharito though, like mind boggling, right? When he's on the field, like this season, to me, like the team responds to him because of the his workflow, right? Like the amount
His work
of
rate.
work he's putting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so. I think the team kind of reacts to that, and I mean, we talked about it, right? Like if you see Chicharito busting his ass, dropping in, like taking the tackle or putting his body in the line, then you have to respond the same way, right? Because this guy is a DP making, 6 million or whatever fuck it is versus you got to put in some work. And I think that really came into play. Unfortunately, like both of you guys mentioned, like when he's not there, like who's there to do that, right? And I think we've seen some. Uh, I was gonna say unsung heroes, but maybe I think they got they got their praises. But like we saw players like Sasha come up and be like a role, but there's a big drop off in quality when it comes to Sasha and Chicharito, right? So it's interesting. Here, let me propose this. 2 seasons in, one season that Angel, you said like let's not even talk about it because it's a weird season, and then a full season now with him. He still potentially has what two or 3 years left in his contract, right? 'Cause
One
it's
more
like
year with
5 years.
an option.
I thought it was five
It
years,
was.
so
It
I thought
was.
it,
I thought it was 3 years with an option. So technically
I
I
four
thought
think
years.
it's
I thought it was
3 years
4 years,
with
and
the option.
okay. Either
4
way,
years with
like
an option.
it
Okay, something like that. Point is for
it
sure he's
seems
here
like
next year though.
we
Guaranteed.
still have another season with him, right? Um, can we make it work? Right, and I know this is a loaded question because you got to talk about like the other players and everything, but like just Chicharito and some changes. Like, can we make this work, or is it something else like we've done in the past, where or Jonah, for example, where we're just gonna have to write out this contract and hope for the best.
I think it's possible to make it work. It's just about how do you keep these guys healthy? Like that's always been the question for fucking 6 years. All our DPs
Hmm.
get hurt. Like what the fuck is the issue? They already changed the medical staff, all this.
Yeah.
Like what is the issue? You know?
I- is there
That's
is there
that's the
any
problem.
is there any blame to this? Can we pay any blame towards the schedule to this? Especially like this season, like it
Nah,
felt like
fuck
it was more
that.
condensed because you had a lot of games back to
No,
back.
because other teams are dealing with the same fucking schedule, like same condensed schedule. So that's not an excuse. It's really not an excuse. Other teams are figuring it out. We have to be able to figure out. We have to be able to figure out. I mean, we spent on not necessarily spent. 'Cause I don't know in terms of money, but we got Vanny right, and I want to talk about him later too,
Yeah.
right? We got Vanny right. He was everyone's like, oh, the homecoming, the whole nine. Everyone was hyped again. Start of the season, name it. Everyone had to deal with the same fucking issues, right? You got to plan for it. Greg Vanny, we thought he had planned for it early on. We're like, oh shit, look at the debt. Look at the debt. We talked about this early on. Look at the players coming in. Now, obviously, we'll talk about the acquisitions, right? Because there's a few
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, okay. right?
I'm gonna run through a list right now. That's actually
Yeah,
coming up. So.
exactly. Yeah. So that's to me the excuse. I'm with Masa. Like, what the fuck is going on? Because all the teams are dealing with it. Look, if it was some freak shit, some season-ending shit, I get it. Like, he got fucked up, like some crazy shit. Fine, I get it. The soft tissue shit, like that's man. I
Well,
don't even know what to say anymore. I really don't know what the fuck to say anymore. All these fucking injuries. It's
well,
fuck, man.
listen, I hear what you're saying when we're comparing teams, right? When we're comparing to other teams that are doing it. But I think that's almost a blanket statement that we use too loosely, right? Let me just give you the top four in the West right now, right? Colorado, Seattle, Kansas City, Portland, right? Let me start off with the first place team in the West, Colorado, right? Colorado is
That's
not there
crazy.
but it's not there by surprise though, right?
Yeah,
Masa, I know you've been talking for at least 3 years about this team building up and becoming better and becoming better. Ta-da. They ended up in first at the end of the season in the West, right? Seattle is another team. Like Seattle, like listen, for a long ass time they were low, right? Because they thought they're the greatest thing to MLS without being able to win anything other than the Open US Open Cup. But they kept building and building and building. They ended up with like I forget his name. The head coach kind of gave him the identity they have right now, and they've been running with that for the past 5 years.
that's
So
there.
or it feels that way, right? Kansas City, same thing, right? Like Kansas City, the peaks and valleys with them, but they've been consistently there. I think that really comes to that comes to Vermees and the fact that they have a very very clear uh the way they spend their money and the way they bring their kids in the academy. If you look in the East, you have New England. New England is just Bruce Arena's freak show, right? Because this motherfucker, I don't. He has a
That's
pact with
Bruce
the devil.
Arena freak show. Yeah,
He has a pact
yeah,
with the devil, or is secretly lovers
yeah.
with fucking Don Garber. But he figures this shit out. Like he knows how to do it, right? Philly. We're talking about Philly. Philly's like the last 3 years or so too. Like you see them come up, but they were lows for a long ass time too, where they couldn't figure it out, right? Nashville has got that clean slate money from being an expansion team, and New York City FC, same thing. Like they got the expansion money, and they've been trying to figure it out until recently. And they're there. Like those are top four in each one of the conferences, and there's a pattern there, right? Like it's again New England Revolution being the only one that's like, outside of this, the outlier in this, but all the other teams have been a working project for a few years, who were just kind of brushed away because they were not the names, right? Like we're not when we're looking at the East, we're talking about like again New England being different, but Philadelphia, Nashville, and New York City FC. We're not talking about DC United. You're not talking about Atlanta. You're not talking about the Red Bulls. You're not talking about like teams or the Torontos or teams that you're used to seeing. Columbus, the used teams you've seen competing for stuff in the East. Same thing for the West, right? Like there is no Levas. There is no actually that's probably the only team that I really believe in the West because everybody else sucks. But there is that from the MLS, like where it's the ever-changing landscape, and you have to adapt quick. Something that G's hadn't done until this season, maybe. I don't even know they adapted quick enough or adapted at all. But it is that thing. So like again, when we talk about compare the teams, I think it's a black statement that we just used too loosely because I don't think it covers everybody, especially when you look at the standings this year. It showcases that. All right. So for Chicha, actually, Masa, like you said, like you think it work, you think we can make it work. Angel,
Well, yeah,
where do you
because
stand?
when he plays it for the most part it's worked, right?
Yeah,
When he's on the
yeah,
field, we get better results. It's that simple. I just don't know how we're gonna keep him healthy.
yeah. Like a very minimum, like you see more effort when he's on the field, like a very, very minimum, right? Like you see that, and I think that counts for a lot, actually. Angel, your take on it? Like, can we make it work? Do we have to try to figure out a
Man,
mechanism to get out of it?
it's twofold, right? Because when he's available, yeah, he'll make it work. Absolutely, there's no denying that anymore, right? There's a work ethic, and I expect him to go back in the offseason and work just as hard. Right? It's Greg Vanny. How do you prepare for life without Chicharito? Right. So, what pieces or how are you going to build in the offseason to change your style? Look, Jovic, I like him. I think he showed me enough this season where unfortunately he had to take the back seat to Chicharito, right? We didn't really play in that two striker role or that two forward role, where oftentimes he had to ride the bench. His work ethic was up there with Chicharito's. And all the time that he didn't play, sure, he maybe didn't score as much as Chicharito did in his games, but his work ethic didn't change, or if maybe more. Obviously, he's younger, legs fresh. I like what I saw from Joveljic, right? So my thing is, I think you can make it work. You can make it work with both. It's the pieces behind that, right? And that's where the biggest issues are, in my opinion. In terms of our forwards, we'll make it work. If we talk about just our two forwards, Joveljic and Chicharito, we'll make it work. Whether it's Chicharito starting or Joveljic, we can make it work. So yes, I guess now I'll get to it. Yes, we can make it work with either of the two.
Well, so you know what? Let's get into talking about like the players that were brought in this season, because Dayton is one that I want to talk about too. I'm probably not going to be in the popular opinion about this, but like, I do want to talk about it. Let me go down this list. I'm sure I've been missing some players. I think I might be missing players, but back me up if I miss anybody obvious. And let's go here. Villafana, right? Villafana, left back. That's one of the players that I was excited to see, because I like the champion pedigree that he brought. I like the experience that he brought, not only within MLS, but like he's a player who had won in MLS and has won in Liga MX. That's another guy whose season was riddled with injuries and just went to shit because of injuries. I don't want to spend too long time here, but give me, was it a good in? Was it a bad out? And maybe like a 2-minute recap of what you think of Villafana this season and going forward.
Unpopular opinion here, because I've argued with Rudy about this, but that was a bad signing. Maybe maybe pre-injury or pre-first injury. Then he came back and he looked just as ass as Nico. So that was bad. For me, it was bad. To me, Nico and Villafana are on par, at level.
We're
Just
gonna
one's
fight.
faster and one defends better and the other one attacks better. They're both one
But neither.
dimensional.
Okay.
So I mean, if they're two combined like in Dragon Ball, they'll be the shit, dog. But they're
Yeah.
not. So
Yeah. Fusion, huh?
so
Yeah,
to
that's
me,
right.
they're on par. And just so Villafana, that was a bad signing, just because he missed more than 3 quarters of the season. So that alone already to me was a bad signing.
Angel, what your thoughts on him?
I don't think it was a bad signing, because I don't think Vanny was expecting to keep him for the entire season in terms of a starting role. Hence why he went to get Hamalainen, right? We'll get to that obviously. But I think, in my opinion, based on the acquisition of Hamalainen, because when he got Hamalainen, Villafana was not injured, right? So I generally think that his thought process was, hey, let me get this veteran for the time being until I get someone that I want for the longer term, for the style that I want to play, right? Which obviously Masa just mentioned it. Hamalainen has been going forward, shit defending. Villafana, shit defending, going forward. So from that perspective, I understand it, but I'm with Masa. I don't like either. I think it was a bad signing in terms of. Okay, fine. It wasn't a bad signing. I guess I'm with Rudy, because I don't think that Vanny was expecting him to be the guy for the entire season. Good signing for depth, for support. Obviously, he got injured, so that changes everything a little bit. But since the injury, I guess it would have been a good depth signing to have. I don't think he was the person that Vanny really wanted for the entire season. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone out and gotten Hamalainen.
Yeah, see, I disagree. I think Villafana was, like, at least initially he was it, right? Like he was coming in for left back. I don't. I mean,
Okay, then
I
bad
need to
signing.
put.
If that's the
Yeah,
case, if that is the case, then bad signing.
I, so I think he was a case. I think he was supposed to be like the guy. I think that's why he didn't get like a long contract either. He was supposed to be the guy for this season, and then he moved forward, right? Unfortunately, though, like his injuries just kind of shot him in his foot. I liked him better. Listen, you can't tell me like Masa. I disagree with Masa a lot, but this time I disagree with him wholeheartedly, because there's no way you tell me Nico is in the same level as Villafana. Villafana can pass, and just with that right there, like for me, that's like 10 levels above Nico. With his pace, I think Nico had him in pace, but like Villafana, like again, to me, I think it would have worked out if you could have just stayed healthy, right? Because obviously, like there was no other left back, and in the right back that we used in the left back wasn't gonna work out either. Like for me, at least a personal opinion, I think he would have been in better defense than any other option we played in left back.
Oh yeah,
Unfortunately,
because
he
he's a
was
better
never.
defender, and you are
Mhm.
the left back. Your priority should be defense, not the offense, right?
Yeah,
Which is why we conceded so many fucking goals. Which is one of the things that I have issues with Vanny, but we'll get to that later.
yeah. Let's talk about Benny in a minute. We got an upgrade at goal with Jonathan Bond. Also with Klinsmann to be fair, but let's talk about Bond for a second. At least for me, I was big. I was all in for Bond at the beginning of the season. Not necessarily that in at the end of the season. To me, like I think he unraveled a little bit throughout the season, and looked shakier as season progressed instead of the other way around. Like I for me, I saw mistakes that he wasn't necessarily making early in the season when we were still losing, but he had better performances than towards the end where we were getting results. But like I felt like he could have done a lot more in a lot of the goals towards the end of the season. I still think is I still think is upgrade. I still think is a good signing. It just kind of you know faltered a little bit and kind of fluttered a little bit. And thoughts on Bond?
Good signing. Because even though I get it at the beginning, we were hyped. We have a keeper, um, and we thought he was above average MLS keeper, right? And or like super above average. So we thought, and now he's slightly above average MLS keeper, which makes him a good keeper, and he's not an international. So to me, that's a good signing. I feel like if even though he was shaky at times, he still got us big saves in many games that we came away with points. So that to me is a good signing
Fair.
already. I feel safe with him in the back, even if at times he was a little shaky. So I mean, to me, it's a good signing.
Fair. Like Angel,
Signing.
same.
That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's fine.
that's fair.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah,
Uh,
he's good.
let's talk about a right back who I somehow, some way said uh, that Julian's spot might have been in jeopardy with his signing and after his first game performance. I'm talking about O'Neal Fisher. Uh, signed as right back, ended up season playing left back. Up and downs with him. Thoughts on him though? Like a good signing, bad signing, anything there to move forward with?
Fuck, man, he was gonna be a fine backup signing, like, for support. I had no issues with it up until that stupidity against Seattle. I was livid. I was screaming of how stupid of a bro. You don't have to be an expert to know. You know where the ball is going. You saw that ball. It went where you knew where it was gonna go. You know what the forward's gonna do. You know where he's gonna cut. You know which way he's going. You know where you are. Why the fuck are you? You know, bad signing just for that alone. Just for that alone. I don't give a fuck. Argue with me the whole season. I give a shit. Just for that alone. You know what? The same way I said Efra is like the next best thing over fucking LAFC earlier in the season. I gave him a pass for everything.
The opposite
Same
for
shit
him.
applies, but the opposite for Jamaican man because
O'Neal
bro,
Fisher.
oh that is unbelievable. I had no words for that.
That
No
that
words for
play
that apart from screaming. That play alone is that probably cost us our season when you think about it.
No.
Potentially, it's what you could make the argument. You can make the argument.
harsh, but yeah,
Yeah.
harsh. I agree. Especially, you know what? Like, I was so mad at that play because he had the space where he could have covered and would have forced him to look for a pass back, a pass outside of the box, anything but that. Right? Like there was a spacing there to kind of recover from him getting behind. The fact that it ends up penalty is just stupid. Masa, give me thoughts on the Fisher in your end.
I'm agree with Angel just
Yeah,
because of
man, that was
that's true.
terrible.
I
That was
I was in
terrible.
Chicago in my hotel on my phone watching this shit, bro. And up
I'm mad
until
as
that
fuck.
point, Seattle had no shots on goal, or not
Yeah,
any good ones, you know. And I'm over there like this motherfucker's really gonna ruin my trip today.
Yeah.
So Bad
Bad
signing.
signing, bad signing,
Bad signing.
bad signing on personal terms and shit.
Yeah, that was it. That one was it for me, man. That you don't
Because
think I'm gonna get
up
as
until that
yeah.
point, like, we was whatever, you know. It wasn't like a good or a bad. Like it was
This is
like
what
Man,
right,
to,
and I
to
had no issues kind of coming in. Yeah, yeah.
to me, like I think the shakiness of the Galaxy, like throughout the whole season, and like you, because that mistake is a football mistake. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. But when your team is fucking, when your team is playing the way they are and needing results the way they are, like your focus level has to be different.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You have to be like in tune and not make mistakes like that because just like fucking like Big Will says on the chat, at this level, those mental mistakes are not forgiven, and they weren't, right? Like again, it's
Absolutely.
a tie against Seattle at that point, to a game remaining in season where you could have won, but for a mental mistake, yeah. Issues.
Yeah,
But
I can never forgive that. I can't forgive that as a playing that position multiple times. I've never made that foul ever in my life. I've done a lot of dumb shit for sure. I've never made that. I've
I
never
can't
made
say
that
the same.
ever.
well,
Never made
listen,
that ever in my life.
and not only that, but it's like it's only official, right? Like it's not like a somebody new to the league. It's not a rookie. It's not a young kid.
Yep.
It's an
It's
experienced defender,
international.
an international. Yeah, there you go. Yep. You know what I mean? Like so. Yeah, I agree with you. Man, maybe yeah. You know what? Like I know. When they picked him up, I'm sure they didn't see him being the starting left back. Uh, but the fact that he ended up playing there and makes a mistake, I'll let you have this, and I'll go with you, Angel. I'll go with bad signing as well. Unanimously bad sign.
All
Uh,
right.
let's go with Derek Williams, center back. I think a big changing point in his first season with the Jesus is that foul against
Yep.
remind me his name from Portland kid
Polo.
Esprilla? Was that
and the
Esprilla?
Danny Polo.
Polo
Oh,
yeah
Polo. Yeah, it was Annie Polo. Yeah, Annie
yeah
Polo. Yeah.
like getting that red card, getting those 8 game suspensions, I think changed a lot for us. Not only like having him play most of the games, but also the way he was playing, right? Because I remember him coming back and the few games after he came back, I kept mentioning like he's not the same. He's not aggressive as he was at the beginning of the season, and I think because he had to make those mental adjustments of not being as aggressive, we
Yeah.
saw more mistakes coming out of him in the back line. Overall though, like give me thoughts on Derek William, his first season, the signing, whether it's good or bad signing, and what the future with the G's holds for him. Like what do you see? Master Angel, I guess take it away.
Angel,
I
go
can say it right
first.
now. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's funny. I had this conversation earlier today with LA Galaxy fan talk, Bobby,
Mm-hmm.
and my man's came in hot, right? He came in good. He was solid. We were all hyped for him. Everybody was hyped for him, right? He comes back from that red card. He's not the same player.
Yeah.
He was a decent. I'd say he was okay, right? He was okay. I think he just needs a free restart, right? The off season, start fresh on the next season. That's just out of your mind. I think the future is bright for him. So I'm gonna say good signing, just because I think the off season, kind of like Chicharito, right? He gonna come back next year as something different, right? Because that definitely I think messing that dude up really put something in his head, and maybe
Yeah.
not necessarily because and I think maybe from a personal perspective, knowing that you
Mm-hmm.
just fuck somebody's
Mm-hmm.
season ending was it? I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember if it was season ending, but it
What
definitely
was
was
it?
It was season ending.
okay. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
season ending injury. Like
I wish
if you're
motherfuckers would like
someone
me,
that
though. Just be
yeah,
heartless.
yeah,
Not
exactly.
give
You
a
don't
fuck.
care. Yeah, I know. But that's it.
Man.
I'd say he needs a restart for sure.
Well, yeah. I must. I'm gonna let you go right now, but I think you hit it right on the head with that, right? I think it fucked with him mentally. It fucked with his perception or how he was perceived by refs because I thought he got a few yellow cards
Yeah.
way too easy after that. So a lot of that. So yeah, maybe I think you're right. I think this offseason gives him a chance to kind of reset and re-energize for next season. Masa, give me thoughts on Derek.
Good signing. What Angel said, agree 100%, and non-international. So great signing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's solid. Yeah.
For me, I think he's a great signing. I think there's future with him. I do want to see what Vanny goes with as far as pairing him, because
Yeah.
I think Derek Williams would benefit for a partner like AJ. I'm not saying AJ himself. I'm saying a AJ like player, kind of like AJ to Omar in those years,
Omar,
right?
yeah.
When you have a real strong, physical, dominant center back, tall center back, and a smaller, more agile, more go out and attack and go out and get it back, defender. Yeah, Angel style, right?
Yeah.
AJ. So again. I think he's for sure a good signing, and really interested in seeing who he gets paired up with next season, because of, this lottery or fucking, you know whose turn is it now pairing the center back this season kind of didn't help us out either. Uh let's move on to some of the attacking boys. Let's start with Granzier. Granzier is interesting because he's had the reverse Cabral treatment, where early in his games he was getting shit talked to, or shitted on for mistakes here
If
and
people don't
there,
know soccer, yep, people are done.
and he ends up being somebody there. So he ends up being a player who people are mad when he doesn't start. Uh Interesting player. Love to hear your thoughts. Angel Massa, take it.
Go ahead, Masa.
Uh,
This one.
good signing for me. Um, I fuck with Grandsir. I fuck with Grandsir from the jump when people were hating. It was just
That's
about
facts.
adapting, and I think he adapted. Don't know why he wasn't getting minutes towards the end, but that's on the coach or whatever. I feel like he's gonna be solid going forward, especially now that they have that season or half a season under their belt. They know what the travel's like. They know what the schedule's like. They played in multiple grounds, so I mean, to me, it's only a positive from here on out.
Yep. Angel.
So one of my criticisms about Greg Vanny, where I generally questioned his decisions this season, me MVP. He was the most valuable player this season for us because when he was in the field, especially the latter part, or I say once he got a little bit more settled, once he came in, he got a little bit more settled after his first few games. He started being more effective in the games. He was the only one consistently every single game when he was playing that would try and actually had urgency, even if things were coming out right. You see the urgency of the intent of the attack or what he was trying to do, whether it was through the wing or cut to the middle or it was Chicharito, or sometimes early on he was trying to play with Chicharito, right? The bad passes just couldn't communicate, didn't know how to play with each other. All that stuff came in. How many games did he come in as a sub and he was an immediate impact? Right, he changed the dynamicism of the team. You can see the urgency of when he would come in. Same thing when he would start games. He was always, to me, the guy that if Chicharito was not in there, he was the only other one who was actually trying to press, trying to go forward, trying to bring urgency to the attack. Right, to me, that MVP guy, like to me, there's no question about it. Right, and sure, maybe it's a bias because he's Drini 2.0 for me. Right, I get it because I'm French. But tell me I'm wrong though. I mean, somebody tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm
Listen,
wrong that he didn't do it.
I agree with everything except for MVP.
same, but
Again,
there's
that's what I said, my personal bias, right? Again, that's what I
but
said.
but but
My personal bias.
but
You're
there's
not
an
wrong.
argument. Yeah, there's an argument for it, right? Like, listen, he's the only player who played all 34 matches. Let me say it again. He's the only player who played all 34 matches, whether starting or off
That's
the bench.
crazy. I didn't know that.
He is the only one who has 34 matches played.
So then
At
he is
least
MVP.
per MLS stats, right? He ends up the season with 3 goals and 5 assists. Really though, like it should be more like 6 goals, 6 assists. He was mad unlucky like the first few games where he had like bangers come off the crossbar
And
or
the
had
own goal
some
against San
ridiculous.
Jose, he's not gonna get that one. Didn't give him that one.
Yeah.
The own goal
All right,
against San Jose,
so
he started
again,
that. He
like
created that.
he I think he could have ended up more, but 3 and 5. Listen, I've seen personally both with the G's and with around MLS, like established players come into MLS and have a hard time the first season, right? Uh, I'll give it up to Granzier. I think he had a decent season, especially for coming in. Kid is young. There's a lot to him. There's a lot to his game. I think he's built for MLS. I think he's built up some other. There's a lot to like from him. And yeah, like again, we could talk. I think we'll talk a little bit more about this when we talk about Vanny. But his involvement was he had different roles to play in this team at different times. So it's interesting to see what he ends up being next year for the G's. Moving on. Let's go with Victor Vasquez. Right, I call him Victor Valdez for the first 3 weeks of his time with the G's.
What are your thoughts,
let's
Rudy,
talk about
on him? Let's start with you on
man.
this one.
Heartbreaking. He's heartbreaking because he's one of the smartest players I've seen in person. That guy is so smart with the ball. He sees the field in a way that I like. He's my type of player, right? And Masa, you can test this. Like he has that smart. Like he understands that he doesn't have the physical capacity to run 70 yards with the ball, so he doesn't. He knows he can ping a pass from 70 yards instead of running with it. I love them. Unfortunately, though, like the team never understood that, right? I mentioned this, and I think it struck a chord when I see the G's play. The G's played for a lot of the season as if they're running practice drills, right? There wasn't a lot of creative runs or anything like that. It was just kind of like run, touch the ball, run to point A, wait for a pass back, and then run point C. Like so, for a player like Vasquez, you need to have creative runs. You need to start outside and come inside so he can find you with the ball, meet you up in the front of you. Like there's not enough of that for him there, and his age showed more than I thought he did. All right, like you saw the decline as the season progressed with him more than anybody else, I think. Especially during the summer, you saw him suffer during the summer, like when it was hot and like playing in Dallas or whatever it was. Like you saw him like not be able to perform the same way as when the environment suited him better. So for me though, like I still think it's a good signing because I think a lot of the improvement you saw from Efra, you have to give them some credit, right? There's some Victor Vasquez-esque type of passing that Efra is doing that we hadn't seen before, and I want to attest that to him. I think he had a lot to play with that. So for me, a good signing, although on the field, maybe not as good as it could have been.
I see good signing for good signing for what he could do. Honestly, age. There's really anything else to say. Age and the rest of the people that he was playing with. I don't know what to say. I think Rudy hit it best. They were all doing drills, and he was at a different level. So, unfortunate. Obviously, the age and the rest of the team playing with a bunch of dummies. It is what it is. But I thought he was a good signing too.
Masa,
I agree. I don't like the whole possessorship, but I don't even think he was trying to play that. I think that the team was just not direct enough, and I feel like he wanted to be more direct, and no one was making those runs. So I can't even hate. I think I think he's good for the locker room too. I think a lot of younger cats will learn a lot from him, and or have learned a lot from him, and maybe cut his minutes a little bit, to be honest, because the age really shows. So yeah, I mean, overall good signing though.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you said it, you don't think the team was direct enough for him. I think he wasn't even looking to be direct. He just needed to be able to pass in transition, right?
Yeah,
because that was it. Like just passing somebody else's foot was then pass that back to you, or not know what to do with the ball. Like it's not gonna happen.
It's crazy because you go back and watch the games, and he looks up, and he's like, "Where the fuck are my teammates at?"
Mm-hmm.
And by the time that he'll take a look down, touch the ball, and then look up again, like he didn't have the legs to hold on to the ball, and it wasn't like, "Oh, it's because this fool." No, it's because there was no one available. That's why he lost the ball, or that's why he couldn't complete a pass because no one was available. It wasn't really. I don't want to say it's not on him, but if he was a little younger, he might be able to hold on to it. He just
100% of the time. Listen, every time he played Wednesday and then played Saturday or Sunday again, he looked horrible. Right? Every time he played 2 games in a week, he looked horrible the second game. Right? And that's not necessarily because because he's fat or he's unhealthy. He's just fucking old for soccer, not for life, because he ain't even old for life. You know what I mean? because I ain't no for life either. Fuck y'all. Like, but you know what I mean? Like he just didn't have the legs for it, which is unfortunate. But again, I'll still okay with the signing. Uh, let's go back because I forgot a defender in Sega Koulibaly.
You also forgot Hamalainen.
Yeah, but I'll bring him up. I'll bring him up
Okay.
because that's the loan. So I want to bring him up. Yikes.
Siani 2.0. That's it.
Listen, yikes. I got bamboozled. I got catfished. I got call it whatever you want to call it. But the first two games, my man looked. I liked them, right? Like he looked like he had defensive chops. He looked like he had the pace, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. I like where this is going. And then none of that ever again, like at all. To the point where I thought Stairs was a stud at points because of how bad Koulibaly had some plays. Is it first year adjustment or is it just a bad sign? What do you think, Masa? I'll let you go first because Angels has something in his mouth.
Sorry, I haven't eaten
um,
all day. I'm fucking starving.
I want to say, it's a bad signing, and hopefully I'm wrong. You
Mhm.
know, because obviously he's on the books for a couple more seasons. I think two more. Um, but as of right now, it was bad. It was real bad. Um, my man lost his spot, never got it back. I never want to see him play. Honestly, like
Yeah,
I don't know, man. That would
uh, it,
be
it
fake shots for dinner, lunch, and breakfast, bro. Like I don't understand that shit.
yeah.
Um,
I
yeah. So bad signing, man.
Angel.
Bad signing. He's as of right now, he's on Siani level, and he's on Julio. Is it Julio Lopez? His name? Anna's best friend.
What's the name? Fuck. Something Lopez. Wait, I know it's on the
Yeah,
Brazilian
no,
cat.
yeah,
Leonardo.
all three of them right now in the same category of wow, unbelievably terrible. I can't believe Siani. I mean Siani. Oh, there you go, Siani. Koulibaly was I guess a French youngster, right? He was a French under 21s at one point or something like that,
Yeah.
or under 17s. I forget what it was, but ha- man, damn, that dude fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Damn,
Man,
he got bamboozled. Bamboozled. You're right.
it's crazy, right? Like how? Like you know what I mean? Like yeah, it's weird. I'll say as it stands, bad signing. I know he ain't going nowhere because I know he signed for multiple years too. So hopefully it's just that first season getting acclimated, especially coming in the way he did. I'm reaching here. I'm reaching here because I want him to be better than what he is. But at least right now, mm-mm. It looks like a bad signing. Didn't work out for us. Didn't play well. All right, moving on. Let's talk about who I believe is the MVP. All right,
Oh shit. Here you go.
Cy Young Revelation. Center mid.
Man.
True center mid. Box to box guy for me. My God, this guy is for being his first season, for coming in when he came in. Every time he's in the pitch, in my opinion, he's noticeably there, right, in both ends of the pitch. Whether it's putting in a tackle, I mean, look at that man's jersey on Sunday, right? Look at that man's jersey on Sunday, bro. It looked like he was pretty important because that shit was green from the back. He had been everywhere, putting his body into everything he could. I like Revolution a lot. I mean, not to mention that he came in super hot as fuck and scored like 5 goals in 3 games or whatever it was, right? Like, or whatever it was. Like he came in hot, and to me, like he is the reason why we're not signing Jonah again, right? Because he fulfills Jonah's role, and in my opinion, he does it better. Talk to me about let alone. I think it's given, but I think it's a good signing. Um, Give me your thoughts on Ryan Revolution.
I think it's a great signing. Um, he he works hard on both sides
Mm.
of the ball, on offense, on defense. Um, I wouldn't say he's the MVP of the team I think he had a little drop off towards the end of the season. It wasn't like bad to where he's playing bad games, but definitely to me it's an amazing signing. Goals or not, it's just his
Mm.
work ethic is amazing. I just same thing with Vasquez. I don't think there was the options there to play faster, or sometimes he had to hold on to the ball and take off on runs, and he would lose possession because no one was moving for him. So I don't know. I think it was a good signing.
Yeah, can I hop in here real quick, my Angel, before you go in there?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Like the one thing you mentioned right now about him driving sometimes and losing it. Like I never had a problem with that because he was one of the few players who actually was okay to drive at the defense to take somebody on. And listen, and sometimes it come out clutch. You remember that touch he had against Levas, where with one touch he loses both midfielders and he has the open space. Like yeah, like I
Or
really
even
like this kid.
the last game where Leggett scores the 2-1.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like this, like for me, man, like young, strong, full of fucking energy. I mean,
Aren't
I'll swipe right in a heartbeat. Like I love this kid. Like this kid is good. Angel, give me your thoughts. I'm sorry. I'll shut up about Revelation because I love him.
No, you're good. I'm with you. Right behind. To me, he's right behind.
Yes,
My
yeah.
boy. Yep, Grant's there. Right behind him because of everything you just mentioned. Spot on, Rudy. Masa, spot on. Except for the part where you think he drops off. I don't think he dropped off. I think he maintained his work ethic and everything that he did. I think the difference that was noticeable is that Jonah came back. Right? You see, if I'm not mistaken, I think when he came in, Jonah was gone, Leggett was gone. I think they were on international duty because they were gone for a while. Right? So
Gold Cup.
obviously he had free range to control that CM or CDM role, depending on how he was playing, be his, right? So he was owning that. Jonah comes back, I think he gives Jonah the respect that he's one, the team captain, and two, has been with the team for a while, right? In a similar role. So I think he gave that's why you see Jonah a lot more on the ball as opposed to what Raveloson was when Raveloson was there and not Jonah, which is why I'm ecstatic and excited as fuck for the future of Raveloson without Jonathan Dos Santos because I think he can boss that shit better than Jonah can right now. And it's unfortunate, Jonah's age definitely showing now. I commend him for his heart for sure, but right now, listen, he's the old man now, and Revelason's showing that he's the future, and I think I'm with you guys that he's a solid signing, one of the best signings that we've had for sure.
Yeah, 100%, man. I again, my opinion, like for me, he is the MVP. He is like my newcomer of the year for the Galaxy, right? Like eh, yeah, right. That part, like both both ends of the field. I think he's a solid foundation for next 5 years of the G's. If we keep him and if he stay healthy, like he's a solid foundation for that midfield. All right. Let's see who do you have left. We have one loan and one signing. Let's go with the signing, and then we'll talk. Actually, let's go with Nico because the other guy left is Cabral, and I know we're gonna want to talk about Cabral for a little bit. So let's talk about Nico. Fuck Nico, get him on my team. I never ever want to see him again, ever again. My man can only run. He can't pass. He can't defend. He doesn't know how to position himself. He has no soccer IQ. Fuck that guy. Next. Please share your thoughts on Nico. I obviously think
Straight
it's
up, I don't. Oh, no, fuck it. I'm better than him. Straight up, I'm better than him.
You're really smart. Soccer is smarter than him for sure. I know that for a fact.
I'm not even. I'm dead ass serious now. I'm better than him, and I don't think I'm the best player there is. By no means. I don't think I deserve to be in the Galaxy.
But neither is he.
I'm better than him.
Yep.
Right? Exactly. It's.
Yeah.
I don't know what shit Greg Vanny was smoking when he got him because he was smoking some good shit.
Listen,
Rooms, all types of ill shit he was on because that has to be one of the worst signings that we ever had for sure.
listen. I'll tell you though. I'll tell you what though. Right? Like this guy, another guy who bamboozled us, who could bamboozle people. Right? Because I can see how you put it together a highlight package with fucking Nico, and he looks like a stud. Mm-hmm. And then you see him throughout 90 minutes, and you realize how shit he is. Right? Because listen, when he came in the first couple of games, I saw that pace. Right? And I saw one or two good passes, and I'm like, oh. this kid could be the answer. He could be the opposite to Julian. And the other side, like we could have these wingers just kind of bombing down the wings. It's gonna be good.
Yep.
And then holy fuck, man! I don't know. I lost count how many bad like simple passes, 5-10 yard out passes he missed like completely just because he couldn't get a ball to their feet. And that's like basics, right? I mean, Nate and Eli, like when they go to practice, what do they practice on?
It's funny because so Nate, you guys know this about Nate, right? He's obviously not. Eli's way advanced than Nate when it comes to soccer. Right? Nate's obviously into other things, but obviously Nate sees how excited I get with Eli and all that stuff. So now Nate's really getting back into it. But he's going the goalie route, so he's trying to be a goalie now.
Hell
right? So
yeah.
he's been training he's been training to be a goalie. Yeah, actually at the club where Eli's playing, they have goalie training, so he started training with them. But point is, I started practicing now with Nate. You know, like fundamental shit, like basic things. We've started with basic ass passing, like starting from 5 yards and 10 yards. And that's one thing I told him actually last week. This is 10 yards. There is no reason why you can't give me a direct pass from here to there. It doesn't matter if you're professional or here. I don't want this. So I had him doing that over and over and over. 10-yard passes. Me teaching my 9-year-old kid this stuff of how important just a basic ass rudimentary pass this is. My man's is playing for the LA Galaxy.
On loan from West Brom, right? Or where's he on loan from?
QPR.
Oh yeah, QPR. Like
yeah, that's fucking crazy, man. I don't get it. How can you? You know what's funny, Rudy? You mentioned it to me. Like, man can't give a pass. To me, he was whatever at that point. Like, I wasn't for him. I wasn't against him. I wasn't paying enough attention to him. I really wasn't. I was like, whatever. He's whatever. Once you said that to me and I started paying attention, holy crap. I'm pretty sure if I go back to all his games from the very beginning of the season with us, it was probably the entire game. I just probably wasn't looking at him closely. Once I started looking at him closely, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable that he can't ping a pass. A 10-yard pass. A 10-yard pass.
It's and how the fuck are we expecting to do a cross into a second pole from 3 quarters out? Like, you know what I mean? Like he's not it, man. Like he's bad. He's bad at soccer. He's bad at soccer. Like, and he needs to go. Masa, we stole the show for Nico, but like, please tell me you like him.
I don't like that.
Any thoughts?
He's alone, dog. He's not here next season. Let's go.
Yeah, right. And there's no way we go in for him, right? Like as a permanent for to make it a permanent. Yeah. That's nuts. Like I honestly I'm not one to talk a lot of like at least take personal shots at players. And I still don't think I am, but this guy, like, he's just bad at his profession. You know what I mean? Like he's just bad at his profession. All right. And last but not least,
you know what's really crazy to me? He's a Finnish international.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he is. And he gets called up regularly, bro.
Yeah, you gonna tell me that Finland can find 28 better players that can actually give 10-yard passes? Like,
I don't know what to say, man.
Somehow, like, brujería, hijo puta, hace brujería.
Listen, I'm telling you, like that speed is deceiving, man. Because you could put together a 5-minute highlight package showcasing his speed and that 1 out of 10 pass, good pass out of 10 that he did. You know what I mean? Like you could put a highlight reel and then all right, like this guy looks good. Whatever. All right, let's talk about somebody who was polarizing and is fucking getting dragged all over the place since he got here. Mr. Kevin Cabral. Let me kick it off. I'll kick it off because there is an insane amount of pressure on this kid because of the DP tag. Right? Like we put a young DP or youth initiative designated player role, whatever its official name is. Like you put that on his contract, and holy shit, this kid, he had to do a lot this year to calm everybody down who gets mad over how G spent money. I think that's a little unfair, and he didn't help himself out at all by performing the way he does. towards the end of the year, here's the theory I'm gonna throw out, and if you guys think it's full bullshit, like, please call me out on it. But I really believe that like the end of the season, the last 5 games of the season, he was played entirely as a decoy to spread the team a little wider, because you had Jonah, because you had Sasha, because you had Victor Vasquez, who don't have pace to open up some space, right? Because if you don't have Cabral, who's quote unquote speedster out in the wing, the team could just collapse and just hold the middle, right? And because you don't have any speedy players who get out wide, then all you do is sit back and wait for them to give you the ball. Cabral gives you a little space because for whatever it's worth, like I know you've seen video and you've seen him miss a lot of times, you can't leave the man out wide without having a defender near him. Therefore, you spread the defense just a little more, trying to get some space. So I don't think I think Vanny recognized what it was for him for the season, and he kind of just used him decoy at the end, try to get some space out for some of the veterans who didn't have pace. My theory. Overall, though, like, this kid had a bad season. It could have been a great season for him because he could have had. Listen, he finishes with 4 goals, 2 assists. That could have been 10 goals. You know what I mean? That could have been 10 goals. And at very minimum, very, very fucking minimum, at least 3 assists if he gives a right pass against in Seattle at the last play of the game, right? Like, a very minimum. But he had a fucked up season. I don't think you'll see the same Kevin Cabral next season. I do expect a big bounce back from next year. Right now, being positive. Thoughts on him?
Some of his misses this year. Holy crap, man. A él le están haciendo brujería, Because, god damn, bro, like, they're laughable.
Yeah.
Some of those misses are laughable. We're talking about a designated player. I get that he's not a striker. I get that. But listen, I even think Daniel Steres put some of those away. I think Bond probably put some of those away. It's crazy, but I'm with Rudy in the sense that I think he has to. You know what? It's not about if I think he will or no. No, he has to have a bounce back here. Otherwise, he will probably be the worst signing in Galaxy history. Because he's more so than Juan Pablo Angel. Okay, yeah, fair. I mean, fair. That's early on, and you understand why you're getting Juan Pablo. I get it. Look, those are the early years of the DP, or those signings. We're not at the Juan Pablo Angel era anymore. You can make those type of mistakes back then and be like, all right, well, we fucked up. You can't do that now. You took a gamble with a kid. Let's he's a kid. He's a kid. Yeah. And look, I get Garrett Vanny can be sitting in front of me right now and be like, hey, listen, let me tell you what the positive is in this. Is because the way that we signed him, we gambled with him. We were able to pay Julian Araujo, and we were able to pay Efrain Alvarez. Now we have those 2 guys locked in. They both had solid seasons, and I think their values increased for both of them, right? So now if someone wants to come and get these kids, they have to pay us a lot of money for these 2 players. Great. We're in the business of winning fucking championships now. We've already been saving money for so many years. I get it. Their value's up. You can't be risking it now with a 19-year-old just because you want to sell 2 players. Right? You're gambling on your team's season here, right? On your future as a coach, right? Because this is first year 1. He was out year 2. BS was out year 2. We don't have patience for this anymore.
Well, listen, we have to talk about Vanny. So like keep that just for like after.
Right. So point is, bro, there is no. Listen, fine. I'll give you this season. I'll give you this wash season. He showed some glimpses. There were some moments where like, all right, I can see it, but not enough glimpses for me to be like, yo, I'm excited for next season.
Mm-hmm.
It's with him. It's someone needs to have a conversation with him, a grown adult, someone who's been in the league before, like a Vasquez, for example, and explain to him the importance of his role. Right? Because in France, anywhere in Europe, it's not a big deal. There's no such thing as a DP role. They'll get paid their millions, and he would just be any other fucking player.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case here. Someone needs to have a sit with my man, my son, basically, right? And tell him, mijo, let me explain to you what this DP rule is and why you have so much pressure. Do you understand the situation that you're in? He needs to click in his head so that next year he comes back. Listen, I'm not. I think his skill is fine. I mean, sure, he missed a lot of goals. I get that, and some of his passes weren't there. But he shows that he can do it, right? He shows that he's had glimpses that he can do it, right? He's shown glimpses that he can do it. I think he's missing the maturity as a professional soccer player or footballer, right? To incorporate everything together and understand the magnitude of the situation that he's in. Because his DP tag is not only impacting him individually as a player, but it's impacting the entire team as a whole and impacting that front office as a whole. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if he understands the magnitude of that situation because we went and we grabbed the kid who's not a superstar in France, right? Sure, there's a lot of hype for him out there. He wasn't gone at Man City. He wasn't gone somewhere else. He was not in a big tank like in a big name team yet,
Nope.
right? He was
Nope.
not.
That's not
Whereas if we grab one of the superstars, they understand what comes with their tag, right? Chicharito, Jonathan, Beckham, Donovan, Kino. We're talking about superstars that come that even if, let's say they're coming at telling or early in the season or even Pavon. Pavon's a superstar, right? My man's went to the World Cup with Messi and co. Superstar. He understands the magnitude. Those guys, and I mentioned all those guys because guess what? He's at the same Alessandrini, Gio, all those guys, DPs. What is Cabral? A DP. I don't care if he's 19 or 20, whatever he is. I don't care if he's 32.
You should though.
It's- oh,
You should though,
what?
because
I should
I
care?
honestly, yeah, listen. I honestly believe like there is a big separation between these youth initiative DP and a regular DP. Like there's a big
But then they should
difference
separate
here.
them. Then they should separate them as in the MLS, right? Then we're not giving Cabral this pressure that we're giving him now because unfortunately he is our third DP right now, and this is affecting us big time because we had a useless Jonathan
Yeah, but they
and an injured Chicharito.
technically they do separate him though, because since he's a youth DP, then you get the other youth spots to fill in.
Right, I get that, but we
Okay,
can
so
use it. We don't know, but what I'm saying is that it's still that DP slot. If we use it in that
well, yeah,
capacity, then we get this, which is I addressed at the beginning of my conversation about this. Did I not?
yeah, but
Like,
you're
here,
saying they need to separate them, but
let,
technically
No, but no,
us
they like, they would have to fully
you
separate
get
them. No, but what I'm
you
saying is that they
get
would have to fully separate them. Otherwise, it's the same thing because you are going to be compared to these guys. Listen, Chicharito was injured. Jonathan's no more a DP. He shouldn't be a DP. So what does that leave? Our third DP who was useless. Right, and that's what I'm getting at. He hasn't had that superstar level. And someone needs to talk to him and explain to him what that tag means because I don't think he's. You know what? Grand Sierra probably looked more like a DP to me. Raveloson looked more like a DP to me in the way that they played, in the way that they gave you stuff, in the way that they gave you that urgency that they wanted to win, that they tried to put the team on their back. Cabral didn't. And that's my opinion. That's how I see it. You guys can disagree with me. That's how I feel about it in terms of
what
Cabral.
he,
So
yeah,
he has no option about next season. He has to perform.
I'm gonna kick it off to Masa right now, but I'm gonna say one thing though, right? Like I think you're doing the same thing a lot of other people are doing at this point, whereas like you're convinced on what should have happened and then are not listening to what Vanny said he wanted or said he was doing, right? Because very clearly he said about Grandier, about Cabral, about all these players that he's getting these players before they hit their prime and trying to shape him into the players he wants for his team to hit their prime while they're there. Now, uh, that obviously Cabral is not nowhere near his prime because if he is, then we're a problem. But like this is it though, right? Like we've done this. I've been in this show. Actually, we all been in the show talking about like we don't want a bandage. A bandage cover up, right? Like we don't want to bring a players for the next 6 months who try to win this MLS Cup and make a run. Like we want to see a team that's going to build something up, and that's the risk you have to take. You brought in Cabral, you brought in Grandier, you brought in all these players who signed them for multiple year deals, banking on not just this season but the season coming up. I get it where we stand because of 2016 is the last time we assembled any type of like championship team. And that's been a while for the LA Galaxy. So I understand the frustration, but like we need to listen to what Vanny's saying. Like when the person who's at the helm right now, like what they're saying and not try to convince themselves of otherwise, right? Because I know what we want versus what they're saying.
That's probably what it is. I right now I don't trust Vanny. Maybe that's what it is. Because Vanny would say a lot of things after post conferences. He would say all the right things, and guess what? The team wouldn't come into single shit of what he said after each post conference.
100%. Listen, that again, but like you said, you don't separate the performance and in the way he's able to get to the players to what he's intentionally trying to do, right? Because I think there's two different things. Masa, here let's talk about let's finish talking about Cabral, right? Because when he first jumped on, I think I told you straight up, like immediately, I was like, yo, we finally got a player with some swag. He hasn't swag to this Like we needed something like that. Let's do this. No, and I'm not even talking about like his antics. I'm talking about like on the field, right? Because the first game he played, you saw him try to do take players on and do some skill moves and the runs he was doing. He had swag to it, right? Like even the way he was taking on shots and the way he was passing, there was swag to it. That all seemed to got stripped away from him, like completely stripped away from him because he's like very like get the ball, stop the ball, and then try to run. Like there's no fluidity to him. There's no swag to him. What the fuck happened? At least in your
no
thoughts.
idea, to be honest. I don't know what's up with that kid. I'm not gonna sit here and fucking hate on him like everyone else. I feel like this is something new to him, right? He came from League Two, whatever
League
the
two,
fuck it's called.
League two.
Big dude.
I feel like he'll have a better season next season. As of right now, yeah, it's a bad signing. I could agree with that, but it goes back to what you said. This is a signing for the next couple of seasons. It's not like my man didn't have his chances, you know. It's not like he didn't get in dangerous positions. It's not like he didn't. His strength is out wide, and he spreads defense. Like you said, it was a decoy, but that's his strength. Like my man knows how to spread the field open, and he's always there. He's always open. Now, what he does with it after, it could go good, it could go bad, whatever. It is what it is. I still think for people to say that they want this kid off the team or they don't see any growth, that's crazy to me. They people are thinking like, yo, this man peaked right here, right now, this season.
Yeah.
And that's how people are talking, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. No. Listen, but I get it though. Like, man.
But yeah, 100%. He is a DP, like Angel says, he's a DP. I mean,
Hey, man,
I can't defend it. I can't say it's not a bad signing because as of right now, it's a bad signing. You know,
yeah,
but I don't know what it's gonna be like next season. I feel confident he's gonna have a better season next year.
it's
But
not
a
that
lot of
hard
people-
though, right?
Do we
Because
even
it's
say
not-
if it was about like what do we say bad signing or not bad signing? We didn't
We
specify
didn't.
yet, right?
Master's the
We
first one who
didn't.
said it. Yeah. Master's the first one who said it.
But I mean, yeah, right now it's a bad signing, 100%. Like
I'll use your terminology and say verdict's still out, but as it stands, it looks like a bad signing. You know what I mean? Like because I think you have to let it out. Listen, again,
Really?
man, this
That's
kid,
the way you put that. That was A1, dog.
right?
Yeah.
it's hard too because people comparing him, or you're gonna compare him to the last left wing we had, and you can't compare the two, bro.
I'm
This
still
left-
holding hope that we're gonna go get him. I
it's-
still have hope that
it's
we're gonna get him.
levels to this shit, bro. And
Here, let me something we haven't even mentioned at all, right? This kid is 22 years old. He was born in 1999, right? Doesn't speak a lick of English, right? Like he's learning English as we speak, right? Because he doesn't speak English.
Soccer
A whole different environment, because like what I mean, like he's like a whole different environment. He's in the United States, right? Not France anymore, dog. No more baguettes. You get some bolillos and shit, right? You know what I mean? Like it has. I said, but yeah. All right.
Say, but
I heard it. I think there's a lot, but again, glimpses enough for me to think that he'll have a better season next year. He has to, man. He has to, because like that's a long contract he's under. You know what I mean? It's a long contract he's under for a lot of money, so he has to be better. I think he will. But we'll only see.
season, five goals and 4 assists.
He finished season with 5 goals and 2 assists. Again, that should have been like more like 10 and a minimum 10-3. You know what I mean? 10 goals and assists, because he missed a minimum 5 sitters. Right? Like I think he missed 2 in fucking San Jose. Like yeah, he missed the sitters, so he should have been more. All right, listen, we still have shit ton of things to go through. But we're running late. I think we'll end this episode talking about Vanny, and then kind of pick it up next week, hopefully, and wrap up the season. Then, but let's talk Vanny. And there's a whole lot of talk about Vanny, right?
So do you want to save that for next week?
I think so. I think that's better, because that's a big conversation to have. Here, since we don't do Vanny, we could talk about Vanny. Talk
You know
about
what we can do
Vanny,
really quick?
the coach system, and our thoughts for next season, at least early on. Next week, but today let's do DTK because DTK has been
Okay.
in news right
So
now.
really quick,
Yeah, go for
when
it.
are we gonna address the just so I know, so I can be prepared for that, the players coming out? We might be
Yeah,
coming out in terms of certain players that we are
leaving.
thinking of.
We should do we should do that
Let's do it.
next week then,
Yeah, so when we look
Okay.
into 2022, so we could talk
because
about
then we
that
still
then.
have to see who's protected and who's not protected and all that
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah,
Okay, we can wait on that.
let's do it next week. This is what happens when we take a month and a half off. You know, we have a lot to say. But let's do DTK. So Feyenoord, right?
Feyenoord. Feyenoord.
Feyenoord.
That
Feyenoord.
that's who supposedly is has a contract out for him, right? Like, or offered him the position of general manager for the club, right? Or soccer director, whatever the fuck it is. Like one of the director roles. Uh, uh Apparently he agreed to personal terms, but no talks between the clubs. Potentially leaving, right? Few things here. I'm gonna set up a few things here. You guys decide where you guys want to go with your chats. But one, what's if it is his last, if it was his final season with us, what would you rate him as a GM for the time he was here? And two, I know this is talking a little bit about Vanny, but Vanny's done this before. Like Vanny did it in TFC. He ran the whole show and he got him some chips. I know we have a lot to talk about Vanny, but do we think Vanny can handle it? You guys decide where you guys want to go with that. Masa Angel, somebody take it away.
I give DTK credit for reestablishing the academy. You know, and we see value out there. Look, I know they didn't make it to the playoffs, right? They were, and we're talking about the babies right now,
G2.
G2s. Right? They were a game away, right? They had to do this when the last game they would have been in, and obviously they didn't. We're not asking them to win championships, right? We want to see play. We want to see dynamicism for them. We want to see a style of play for them. We want to see some studs in there. We want to see things, right? I think we did again this year, right? We saw a few players also start to shine and out there, right? Preston Judd is looking good now. We got to be a little cautious with these forwards, you know, from these twos because it's been a while now. Listen, Augie, you know what happened there. Zubek has been Zubak for the longest. I've been saying that shit forever. I don't think he even hit the 3 goals. I think I said I'd get his jersey. What did I say early in the season? I get his jersey, right? If he could get 3 goals because he scored 1 early in the season. Right, I think I said something like that to Buki. Well, anyways, there's that, and who I don't even remember who else we had. You know, what are the forwards? McBean. Shit, I don't remember who else. So be cautious with the G2 forwards, right? But Preston Judd been doing some good stuff out there. Listen, you guys know how I already feel about Jonathan Perez. I know he hasn't played with us enough in terms of the main squad, but you guys know how I feel about him. My man's is with the Mexico national team again.
Mm-hmm.
The other dude that in the radar right now, was it Jorge Gonzalez? That's his name?
Hernandez.
Hernandez, that's what it is? Okay, yeah. Hernandez, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the longest we've been talking about it since Beckham, we haven't had a free kick specialist. My man had like a gajillion free kicks scored.
Beans,
for
baby,
these
stop
this season.
beans.
Yeah, like y respetos, you know. So point is, DTK has set a foundation, right? And that's his work. That we know this for a fact. This is doing. I mean, we've had conversations with him, so we know this is his doing, right? This is him saying that foundation for what the Galaxy should be in the future. Right now, and the players that are there are a few players that now start to catch my attention. That this guy might end up coming to the main squad at some point. You know, that's what we want to see. Obviously, we know that was it Carson? Carson kid. What's his name? Brain fart right now. Winger. 19, 18 years old.
Dunbar.
Dunbar.
Oh,
Dunbar is
Dunbar.
still there, right? So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dunbar he's still a kid for the future. Jonathan Perez still a kid for the future, and we saw some of a bit of glimpses of there early on the season before we had the players that Greg Vanny brought in, right? So there's some players there. Obviously, the other midfielder kid that made it to the main roster this year. We had him for a while. He played for a minute.
Aguirre. I think.
No, not Aguirre. That's
Saldana.
my boy. Saldana. There you go.
Yeah,
Saldana. So these are players that now are starting to come through, right? And they're being serviceable. They seem like they're actually showing something. This is a lot of DGK's doing. Adding that structure, and we talked about it with him. He said that he was adding the structure. The scouts, he was setting up scouts because apparently for the longest Galaxy didn't have their own scouts. What they had was like outsource scouts where they pay scouts. I forgot exactly how he explained it to us, right? It's like stupid, right? How do you let guys do all this shit, right? Point is, what he's done on the back end, obviously, he's
Yeah.
not translating to the main squad for different reasons. The main squad's a whole different story. This is why we still have to have our academy conversation one day, because that's a topic in itself, right? And how that translates to the main squad. But what he's done right now, he set up some players there for success. Right? If we end up signing them, there's players that now can probably sell right down the line, and that's ideally what we want to do, right? If
Mm-hmm.
we not, most of those players are not going to be part of the main roster. Let's
Mm-hmm.
face it. Now, what do we do with these players? They have to make us money. They have to make us money, and I see some players there right now that it might be something. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Before we were only talking about one. Now I'm talking about multiple players that are showing something, right? Not only that, early on when he came in, remember the things he was doing? He was reaching out to former players and trying to see if they can come
Mm-hmm.
back, try to reestablish. I think DTK has done a lot of good
Yeah.
for a general manager role, right? For what he's been able to control. Now his first year I think was tough for sure because we still had Zlatan, we still had GBS, a lot of the things that were done by Chris Klein, right? So he's gonna be judged on his entire tenure here. A little bit unfair because he was coming into a shit show. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We talking about a shit show, a massive shit show. I give him credit for I think saying shit show is an understatement. I give DTK a lot of credit for managing the things he could as best as he could in this type of fucking shitty situation that Chris Klein has led the squad in. Well, not just the squad, the organization as a whole.
The
Right.
station,
So kudos to that. People want to say, hey, ass or whatever, because no championships or whatever. Oh, fine, whatever, up to you guys. I have my different perspective of DTK, maybe on a personal level, because we've had conversations with, Rudy and I have for sure. Where we actually sat with him before and we've had these conversations with him. So we understand what his role is at a different level. That's not just a face value level. We're talking about a deep level. So it's obviously coming from a different type of place here. So I understand if some Galaxy fans are going to be like, oh, well, he didn't do shit. We still suck. We didn't make it playoffs. Get it? Your
No.
perspective, you have a valid point. We did not make it to playoffs. Right. But in my opinion, what he was really brought in to do, I think he's done a good job. Maybe I want to say 10. If we do it on a 1 to 10 scale, I'd say maybe like a solid 8. I
Yeah.
think he'd be a 10 if he would have been a lot more involved with the main roster in terms of helping build the championship level roster. I don't think we have that right now. So I'd say like an 8. I say a 3 and a 1 to 5 scale.
Let
3.5.
me let me let me hop in here and sprinkle some other shit around too, because like I think the one thing you have to give him the most credit for is really moving us out of the Bruce Arena era, right? When it comes to the academy and the structure and everything we've been doing, I think he caught us up because I just had this conversation recently, like the Galaxy for a long time rested on their laurels and kind of like we're the most winning team. We don't really got to do shit while the rest of MLS moved and changed their academies, the way they do business, and everything else. Galaxy had been left behind, and I think he did a lot to catch us back up. Um, a lot. Like, listen, we asked this guy who didn't have MLS proper experience to come in, understand MLS rules, and figure out like the money situation for us and the roster situation, contract situation for us. I mean, we've gone through the Zlatan debacle. We've gone through the Pavon debacle. Well, all that and still kept it moving and still kept it pushing. Right. Big ups to you mentioning like the G2 because a lot of the players in G2 who played mostly G2, whether they were signed on the main team or not, like are now valuable assets that we can ship out, not only within USL but like MLS, right? Like because they seen minutes with the main team and they executed. I think that's big in setting up that business side of it. So I think I know he was in with GBS
Neo's
and
another
now
example early on. Actually, I just thought about it. Neo's U20s now with the US. They got
Yep.
Mhm.
spanked 4-0 by Brazil, but listen, it's Brazil,
Doesn't matter.
right? At that level, they're always going to spank teams like the
And these
US.
fools literally like flew in and had a
Mhm.
day and played. So
Yeah, that's
it's
true. Oh, I didn't realize that. That I didn't know. But he did get the call up, right? And obviously that's a good thing.
and he
So
started
again,
too.
back to yeah, he did. That he did. But point, just adding more to points here. My
Yeah.
my thing about DTK in terms of G2 here.
Masai, go ahead and rap to me about DTK.
Oh, I just agree with Angel, man. There's been too many players that have gone that slipped through our fingers. Too many, and I think the biggest one right now to me that stands out is Matthew Hoppe.
Oh,
Mm.
that's right. I forgot about him.
And basically, what he's doing is making sure that we don't lose players like that for free. You
Yep.
know, that might not work out for us, but if, like Angel said, if we get some money for them and they work out somewhere else, great. And they're just not gonna go out for free. You know, um. So yeah, to me, it's been good work. I think more on the back end of stuff on the lower leagues. On the first team, not so much, but it's kind of hard to criticize it because I think Greg Vanny, since he does that in Toronto, he does his scouting and he brings in his own players. Like, how much control does DTK really have of the players that are coming in? You know,
Yep.
opposed to GBS, or at that time, it was more like, well, I want this type of player. Go find me that type of player. And he brought in, I think he brought in more players. For example, like Antuna. Like, I need a winger. Bring me a winger. Oh, here, this is kid Antuna. I'll bring him in because obviously he has a connection to DTK. But
Yep.
with Greg Vanny, it's a different story. So for me, I agree with Angel 100%. To me, like a 7, 8. I feel like 8's a little too high. But like around a 7 out of 10. You know, 2.53 out of 5,
Five.
whatever. Um, I think it's been solid work though, especially with the youth.
Yeah, I fucks with DK, man. I honestly fucks with DK. I think he had a clear vision of what he wanted to do, and and implemented as much as he could. I give him an 8. I have no problem giving him an 8. Um,
So
and
credit to
I'm
him for always being very candid about situations.
hmm
Right? He didn't like Chris Kleinman. You have a conversation with him. He very vague, tries to
You have
deflect
to read
things.
between the
Gives
lines.
you,
Yeah.
yep, exactly. Yeah. If you've talked to Chris Klein or you've seen his interviews or we had conversations with him, listen, we had him on the show before, right? We've talked to Chris Klein before. I don't think we ever had DTK, but point is, we've had conversations with DTK where we had candid conversations with him, and he will tell you how it is. We suck. We've been bad. This is our issues. Here's what the problems have been. Here's this. He understands what's going on, right? And
Yep.
he's been trying to fix it. And he obviously he can't fix everything, but certain things he did fix. And my bad, Rudy, for jumping there. I just had to make sure I get that out of there. The whole because he was always very candid about where things stood.
Yep. No, 100%. You're right on that. DTK was on the show thanks via Ant when they had the presser. Got a chance to talk to him
Oh, that's right.
a couple years back when he first signed. Either way though, like I like him. And if he does end up leaving, I think he has the door open to come back. If there's opportunity down the line, because I think he served us correctly. Man, I think that's where we're gonna leave it off this week. Next
Just
week.
really quick. I
Yep.
forgot Dejan.
Oh shit, we forgot that John. Yep. Let's
The
talk
contract.
about
That's it. There. Good. I'm good.
the
Good.
contract. Yeah, like he's a long term
Yep.
contract too, so like we're good.
Yep.
Dope. I think we'll come back and just mention him and have a little conversation about him, 'cause I think he deserves a
Okay.
conversation next week.
Yep.
But next week for sure we'll talk management with Vanny. We'll talk about outlook for 2022 and who's in, who's out, or at least who would we keep and who would we let go of our roster right now. I think there's potential moves to be made, and I think we left off with some players who are probably worth something now. Either way, we'll have that conversation next week. So drop in your questions. I know we didn't post that we're doing this, so we didn't ask for questions, but next week for sure we'll post. And please join us and have this conversation to wrap the season up and give it outlook for next year. With that being said, that's another episode of Straight from the Stands. I'm boy Rudy. I'm Smarts on Twitch. I'm Smarts on Twitter. I'm Smarts on the gram.
This is Angel. I'm only on Instagram. 80F3691.
Peace, love, and Jesus.